thrown at us, and you hear wood knocks or what sound like not rocks being tapped together. And I was like, maybe there's something to this, we went out there for the first like every week for for 2013 and 14. My wife and I mostly, and I think it was the first. Yeah, it was the first year. We had some really weird things happen during the day, and like really strange things. And that were actually, it's funny, like tomorrow's Father's Day. It was Father's Day 2013 that I saw the first one I've ever seen. And we were coming back out of the woods, and we noticed we heard like footsteps in the leaves, like paralleling us out. And I had heard of that, but I was like, nah, that can't be what that is. That, something. So when we would stop, it would stop, and we would start it. And so finally we said, okay, we're gonna walk so many steps and stop, and I'm gonna look down there. And what we did, and we looked over, and I saw one walk. It was probably about, I don't know, 50 yards away. Go between the trees, like take 2 steps between the trees. And I thought, that's when it all really got really real. Like, oh my God, that didn't just happen. No, that can't be right, Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that really changed the whole thing right there. It's like that's just.
Yeah, it's a real moment. Yeah, like
yeah, it just
I
makes
saw my first Bigfoot. Yeah, like I always believed that they were real, but when you see one, it's a whole different story.
Yeah, and this wasn't far from our camp, which that was at one area out there. Well, there's 2 main areas we go to out there, but it wasn't very far away, and it was like, oh my gosh, My wife, she said she saw something move. She said, I saw movement, but I didn't get a good look. And, we had a couple of things, like we had been like bluff charged out there in the middle of the day. I mean, so much like I didn't even know what it was, and I heard people talk about it later. It sounded like an elephant coming through the woods. I'm like, we were way down in the woods. I thought, well, there's no way we're going to run. So I put her back behind me, and I thought, whatever it is, we're just going to do the best we can until something's coming here. I didn't have any kind of a weapon or anything, And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. And all of a sudden, boom, just stopped. Nothing. Dead. Never heard another sound. And I was telling another guy that we had met out there, Dave Mosier, about that. He said, yeah, they call that a bluff charge. And we've had that happen a couple times at night. I'm like, oh, man, that would really scare me at night. It scared me during the day. But, then and after that, I think it was a week or so after that I saw the first one, and I was like, okay, this is insane. It just changes your whole perception of everything. It's like, wait, this is not right. This can't be true.
At that point in time, did that start getting you thinking about trying different tactics as far as getting documented evidence on them? Or at what point in time did you start kind of thinking about doing your own investigations?
Well, that's a good question. I thought about that earlier. When I first started going out there with Lee and some other guys, they would walk. We do night walks, right? And they were kind of chaotic because you got 2 or 3 guys or 4 guys walking, in the woods, and you're making noises, and people are talking, and somebody go, oh, did you hear that? It's like, no, I didn't hear that. I didn't know. So, but what we would do was go camp out there, and I started realizing that when we were at camp, that's what happened. You could hear things, like rocks thrown at you, or you could be quiet enough to maybe hear a knock or a vocal or something like that. And we went out there so much, and so much happened at night, I just got so sick of not being able to see what I was hearing, So I got serious about it, and I got the FLIR. You know, the what model is that, Dwight? That's the
The Scout
Scout.
240.
Yeah, Scout 240. Yeah. So we I started, you know, we would use it to look around while we were up, but a lot of things happened after we went to bed, right? So I thought, you know, I've got to be able to see what's going on. And you know, Dwight, you've been part of this evolution of our trying to get our technical gear together. So I rigged that FLIR up to record, and I thought, boy, I'm gonna be able to see everything out there. Well, as we all know, that's not quite true. But it's not exactly like I thought it was gonna be. But it is. You can't. You know, you did see. You could see deer going by, or coyote, or whatever. You know, and every once in a while you'd catch a glimpse of something that you couldn't really figure out what it was. But I guess that's when toward the end of 2013 I started thinking, you know, I gotta do better, because kind of foolishly thinking that I can get something, you know, I can record something, not realizing how hard it would actually be. you know, that was just really naive. And so, you know, but you did, and that's when the audio, you know, got audio recorder, which I think that's the first thing you need to get, and you know, let that run all night. But that proved to, you know, that got some very interesting things too, especially, you know, and so it's just been an evolution from there for the years of trying to do better with the FLIR. And recently I got another FLIR like that, rigged it up the same way to record, and you know, it just seemed to kind of make sense, even if you walk out in the woods, rather than just keep walking all night, as to find a spot, sit down, be quiet, and you know, look and listen.
So you would say that of all the methods that you tried, that would probably be the most successful, is to pick a spot, sit, and let them come into you?
Yeah, I think so. If you, I guess you, and this may be insane, this is just what I think. I think if you've got to give them room. If you're not moving, if you're sitting still, and I think the whole thing depends on their curiosity. If they're curious about you or not. And if they are, you know, like, you know good and well, you know, there have been times where, you know, they'll get close, and they'll let you know they're there. And I just think, as far as trying to capture something on video or audio, you know, if you just sit there and here I am, you know, if you want to come around, come around. And, I think that's the best tactic, really. And that's mostly what we've done, and we've gotten a lot of good results. You know, I mean, it's really, really hard. You know.
No, it ain't easy at all. But
No, it's not easy. No, we all did incredibly well, but yeah, it's not easy. It's all tried and tested stuff that we've all tried. Trial and error.
Yeah, but there's been a whole lot of trial and a whole lot of error.
But I would agree, you know, looking back over the years and what I've been involved with you, I think we've gotten most of the good stuff when we have went to a spot and just sat down. I think that's probably where 85% of the good stuff that we've gotten came from.
And I'll say this: I don't want to discourage anybody, but I'll tell you, the first 2 years my wife and I went, I would say, especially in the summertime, she's a teacher, so she was off, and at that time I was self-employed, so I had a lot of time to myself. And we would go during the week when nobody was around, and we would go just about every week. I mean, if it was really, really cold, we may not go, but we kind of got to work around for that as well. But really, really hot or really, really cold, it's, you know, harder to deal with. But we would go almost every week. And then in 2015, when Dwight and I got together, I mean, this sounds insane, but we figured it up. Those first 3 years, 15, 16, 17, we averaged 40 trips a year. That's, I mean, there for several years, we didn't even discuss, are we going or not? It was a given, we're going on Friday, and the only question was, where are we going to go?
Exactly.
I mean, it was like, with your schedule, and when I would get off work or take a day off on Friday, we could get together. We would head out to, we have been all over, 4 states, 4 or 5 states, and but we have 3 places that he and I have were our mainstay places, but we visited a lot of places as well. But I think that's what it takes. If you're really gonna get something, if you really are gonna hope to, you've got to you just got to put in the time. Now I know that's fanatical. I do realize that, but that's kind of what it takes to do. But if you look at it, and Dwight and I have discussed this several times, we need to get together all of our the nights that we had activity or the days we had activity, and just kind of put it all together, and because there's been some pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, we were at a point, like you said, where we went every week and we'd have some incredible things happen. We wouldn't even stop to take it in too much, and we'd be out there the next week. And that's part of what it takes. At the same time, one area we could probably improve on is catalog. A lot of our experiences.
Oh, yeah.
What's happened.
Yeah, I've got everything. I'm sure you do too. We just need to sit down and put it in order, and make the tell the story.
Yeah, I agree with you. It takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of boots to the ground work. I mean, field researchers researching any other animal, whether it be big cats, bears, whatever it is, spend a year, 2 years, up to 5 years out in the field getting everything that they need to find out. And I don't think that should be any different than Bigfoot, because if you're serious about it and you want to get that information, it's going to take a lot of work.
Oh yeah, it's if I had known that going in, I probably would have stopped. It was just an evolution. It's like, when we were going so much, it was just like, and we this sounds crazy maybe, but we would have like regular happenings. It's like, if you hear a good knock, well, that's nothing. I mean, we hear that all the time. What else can we get, or the vocals, oh man, that was really cool. Now what else can we get, I mean, it was like, one of the things we did, which was, we talked about recently, and Dwight got us all tickled talking about it. We went up to Western North Carolina. There's a field up there, and there's a big, it's kind of in a bowl, kind of like in